Well, good morning or good afternoon to today's version of the TravelMole COVID-19 interview. And I'm delighted to have with me today a young man who is looking after one of the UK's most favourite long-haul destinations in the Indian Ocean, Mauritius. I've got Arvind, who is the director of the Mauritius Tourism Promotion Authority. Welcome, Arvind.
Thank you, Graham. Afternoon.
Good afternoon. Arvind, what's the current state of, excuse me, of travel and tourism in Mauritius? I'm assuming it's completely non-existent. It's just a lockdown all round, and you're not receiving anybody. Is that true?
Absolutely, Graham. As you know, Mauritius is highly dependent on tourism, and tourism is actually one of the backbone of the Mauritian economy. It generates around 64 billion rupees in terms of revenue, and tourism industry directly and indirectly employs around 10% of our workforce. Yes, tourism is at the heart, like everywhere in the world, but I'm very confident that tourism being very resilient, we will bounce back. There's absolutely no question about it. Once travel restrictions are lifted, actually, consumers will look at traveling again. Right now, they are consuming travel on the social media, and the way they demonstrate it actually highlights that the industry is resilient and Mauritius will bounce back.
Good. I mean, Mauritius obviously got a lot of nice facilities, some lovely hotels on the coast, some like the botanical gardens and the tea plantations and things like that for people to go and see. Are they going to be? Where are you at in your strategy? Are you thinking that people are going to travel more locally, if you know what I mean? So they'll be coming from Africa, South Africa, the Southern African states first, potentially other places in the Indian subcontinent, and then look to Europe, or is it all going to happen at once? Have you got a thought or a plan in your mind?
Actually, it is a two-pronged strategy. What we can foresee from Mauritius is that the first markets which will open up are the regional markets, which are Réunion, South Africa. Then, as you are aware, Emirates service Mauritius twice a day. We expect tourists coming from this region. And then Mauritius being highly dependent on Europe, actually Mauritian tourism is very Eurocentric. And Europe will be in a second phase. What we can see right now is that countries like Germany, Switzerland, Austria are reacting quite well, and they are recovering in a much better way than, for instance, France and the UK. So I would say that the reservoir would be from the German countries first, then at a later stage, our main reservoir, which are France and the UK. That's how I foresee the situation.
And in terms of timings, Arvind, what are you thinking about? Do you think that that international long-haul visitors, such as Germans and Austrians, etc., will be visiting this year, or are you basically writing off 2020 and thinking this is going to be spring 2021 or autumn for you?
You know, actually, as a person, I'm very realistic, okay? And very objectively, I tell you that, long-haul destinations will take much more time to recover. But once all the protocols are observed, once all the sanitary conditions are in place in a country, people will be resilient. Europeans will travel. And Mauritius has this reputation of having very well contained the COVID-19. If you look at, the government had taken a lot of measures very promptly with stringent lockdown as soon as, you know, it became a pandemic situation, you see. So this has actually ascertained our position as a leading example in the tourism industry.
Cool. Well, one of the barriers to getting a lot of people to Mauritius is potentially the situation with Air Mauritius, which is now, as I understand, has gone into administration, but it's still flying. And I read, probably on TravelMole of all places, that there is an intention to start flying again on May the 16th, which is only or May the 15th, which is only a few days away. Do you know what the current situation with the airline is?
Actually, recently, Air Mauritius issued a communique postponing all their travel as from 31st of May. Huh? But the point is, actually, Air Mauritius is under voluntary administration. And as you're aware, you know, a lot of these, most of the companies in the world, the airline companies are facing this huge stress and trouble of managing to keep their head out of water. And Air Mauritius hasn't been spared. You know, it's a small airline company. But point is, being in voluntary administration doesn't really mean that Air Mauritius won't fly again. Actually, what the administrators are doing, they're reviewing the management decisions and all the financial implications of the company. But what I can reassure you that Air Mauritius will be back once the sky reopens.
Okay, talking of airlines, have you had discussions with any other European airlines about starting up again?
To be quite sincere with you, no, because we are very confident that our national carrier, which transports 50% of our tourists, will fly again. And we've got a few other carriers also who are there. We've got British Airways, we've got Lufthansa, we've got Condor, we've got Air France, we've got Emirates, we've got Turkish. And the objective is certainly not to open the skies to everybody also. I mean, otherwise Mauritius, we don't want Mauritius to become a mass destination. We want to be very careful, and we want to grow tourism in a sustainable manner also.
Cool. So one of the key components, obviously, of regenerating travel to your destination, to almost any destination in the world after this COVID issue, is going to be projection of personal safety, of health and hygiene. It's making sure that brand Mauritius stands for, I'm going to be safe. If I get there, I'm going to have a good time, but it's going to be safe, and I'm going to be safe. That obviously requires money, requires marketing, and at the moment, because many people don't have money because there is no tourism, that's a bit of a catch-22. Have you had thoughts about how you may re-emerge in terms of marketing and in terms of projecting Mauritius as a safe destination to visit?
Actually, we are currently working on a bounce back strategy. The objective is to actually devise a campaign, a strong marketing campaign above the line to address all our markets, be it emerging or traditional markets, I would say, using a same language, the language of safety and sanitary and security. And actually, Mauritius has quite a very good reputation of being a safe destination, a secure destination. And right now, post-COVID, what we see as at today, we've got only 2 confirmed cases of COVID for the past 14 days. That means that the pandemic has been very well contained. And this is a strong marketing tool for us.
Sure.
It's a vivid example of how well it can be contained and how safe Mauritius can be. And we shouldn't forget about the quality of service that Mauritius has always positioned itself in its delivery. And this again will help. You know, tourism is people-to-people diplomacy at its best. And our frontliners, our people in the hospitality industry are well trained to do that.
Excellent. Now, you mentioned developing tourism in a sustainable manner in the future, that you do want to be a mass tourism destination. Is that a change of strategy, or is that something you've adhered to for the last 3 or 4 years? I know when I visited, probably first time, it was more to build tourism rapidly. That's probably now been done, and you're now at a period where you can look at low volume, high value tourism. Do you think that people will appreciate tourism and appreciate Mauritius more in this post-COVID world?
I would say definitely, but actually what we should see also, we should be realistic. You know, recently there has been quite a paradigm shift in the mind of the traveler. The travelers, the tourists who come to visit a country are no longer, for instance, I'm talking for Mauritius, are no longer the people who would just be adepts of the sun, sea, and sand. People are looking much more, for much more. And here Mauritius has a key role to play because, first of all, it's a melting pot of diversity, of culture, of religion, of gastronomy. And this is one of the major assets of Mauritius. Secondly, there is also the insides of the country, which hasn't been explored yet, and which is also very well preserved, I would say. You know, we don't have to rely extensively on our coast, but we have the interiors, which are great also. And that's what really differs Mauritius from all the other island destinations. And thirdly, I would say, you know, we are proud to say today, I mean, as far as COVID is concerned, we were one of the first islands having put in place, you know, a lot of measures. We were among the first airports to have thermal scanning. We had, before embarking passengers, you know, we were the first, among the first countries who, when we thought that, you know, we were there were countries in Europe which were, or from Asia, which were high risk. We stopped the flights, and we were we took a lot of precautions in this sense. And that's why I say Mauritius could be an example of that in the Indian Ocean.
Excellent. Well, Arvind, I wish you the very best in the future. I would love to have a curry with you in Grand Bay area or somewhere like that. It's some of the best curries I've ever had.
I look forward to welcoming you soon. Huh?
Yes, indeed. And so thank you very much. When was the
last time you came? When was the last time you came?
Must be 5, 6 years ago now.
You should come back because you've got some wonderful golf courses which have been constructed now.
It sounds excellent. Thank you very much. And thank you for your time.
Welcome. Ali, pleasure. Thank you. Bye-bye.